morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity. I'm Reverend Marla Mason. It is a blessing and a pleasure to welcome you into our virtual spiritual community this morning. I want to start by letting you know that we are working this month with the theme, Facing the Fear. How many of you are afraid of anything? I'm afraid of a few things. My spiritual journey at this time in my life is to learn how to be with fear in a way that is healing and productive and a teaching experience. And so that's what we are talking about all month long. How do we face our fears? How do we rest in faith? How do we be in the presence of our fears, even when they seem so powerful? What is more powerful than our fears, and what have they come here to teach us? Today, I want to thank Susan Neidig for a powerful meditation service this morning. Many blessings. I had a great experience. If you guys have not been part of the meditation service, I invite you to do that. That was a really powerful experience for me this morning. Thank you, Susan. It's at 10 a.m., same link. So check that out. At the end of our service, Susan will be joining with Jan Kalin to facilitate a prayer circle. If you'd like some prayer support, be sure you stick around for that. I also want to welcome our board host today is Jean Paul Mateer. Thank you so much for serving. And our guest artists. Who's excited? We got Becky and Matt this morning. They're like our brother and sister, right? So happy to always welcome them into our community. And I just want to speak a word of blessing for our beloved Becca, who week after week brings us these amazing and beautiful artists. So Becky and Matt, I think you have some music for us to anchor us in consciousness as we prepare to pray. Go ahead.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Hello.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. I was born to live life fully, to let go of regret, to walk the high wire of life without a safety net, to follow something even bigger than my pride, to show up with courage even when I'm trembling inside. And I will not worry about what others think of me. And I will not be shackled by the conformity. I'll break the mold set in the past, keep pushing till I'm free at last. I'll follow that path of my heart.
sustaining us in every moment with every breath. We are connected to the infinite, and we simply allow ourselves to be inundated, awash in this awareness right now. Every cell in our bodies coming alive with the presence, with the awareness of the presence of spirit. And it's in this consciousness that I call forth our fear, and I call forth our fearlessness. For I know that we are in the right place and the right time to learn what is ours to know about the nature of fear and how is ours to be in the midst of that. And so on this sacred and holy time, I declare a blessing. I call forth a blessing as we open our hearts and minds to all that is about to unfold. And I open this time together with a grateful heart. And so it is. Amen. I'm going to read through our affirmation once so that you have a chance to just allow it to sink into the opening that we've created with the music and the prayer here. And then we will say it together. I rest in faith, confident there is a presence and a power greater than I am. I am at peace with my fears and know that I am nurtured and supported every moment, every breath. And so I invite you to speak these words with me with conviction. I rest in faith, confident there is a presence and power greater than I am. I am at peace with my fears and know that I am nurtured and supported every moment, every breath. And so it is.
Pain is something that you can't ignore. You're always wondering what the hurt is for. Your heart feels something that it can't explain. You yearn for something but you can't change. Remember, the wounded bird still sings. Remember, the rain has tiny wings. Love is letting go of fear. Love is letting go of doubt. Love is letting go of the chains that tie your spirit down. Love is letting go of pain. Love is learning how to dance inside the light again. You're always haunted by the love you lost. Scared that you forever pay the cost. You believe this is the bitter end. Remember, lonely would you be hurt again. Remember, there's always one more chance. Remember that love's the only dance. Love is letting go of fear. Love is letting go of doubt. Love is letting go of the chains that tie your spirit down. Love is letting go of pain. Love is learning how to dance inside the light again. letting go of the chains that tie your spirit down. And love is letting go of pain. Love is learning how to dance inside the light again. With all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, let go. With all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, let go. With all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, let go. With all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, let go.
Thank you, Becky and Matt. Letting go. That's pretty much what it's about. I wanted to tell you today about an experience I had maybe 15, 18 years ago. It was quite a while ago. And there's an interesting thing about this experience. I remember what was happening to me crystal clear. Every second, absolutely seared into my consciousness, exactly what was happening to me. I can't remember the context or why I was there or who else was there with me except for Patty. Now, isn't that interesting? So what happened is we were somewhere, Patty and I were somewhere for some reason. All I can think is it must have been some kind of a retreat because there was a ropes course. And I had never even seen such a thing before. And as I remember standing at the bottom of it going, why would you even do that? But it was part of what we were up to for some reason at whatever this thing was. And so I was to do the ropes course. They got us all geared up in the harness and the ropes and the whole thing. They gave us a little overview. And I'm looking up there going, you have got to be kidding me. This cannot be happening. I'm going up there. I don't think so. And we began, and people started heading up, and I'm watching them, and I'm in line. So there's people behind me. So there's pressure, right, to move forward. And it gets to my turn, and I'm like, all right, God, whatever. And I start up, and I'm doing pretty good about the first 5 or 8 steps. And I get about maybe 10 feet off the ground and I froze. I became completely paralyzed. I'm not even up to the starting platform yet. I'm still on the climb up. And I remember very clearly my fingers. I'm watching my hands and I'm trying to force this hand to ungrip and go up to the next thing. And I can't. And I'm trying this hand and I can't make it go. And I'm kind of looking down and I am in a complete panic. I've never been so immediately frightened like that before or since. And I was paralyzed with fear. And I realized that people were shouting. And they were saying things like, go, Marla, you can do it. And they were saying, one more step, just take one more step. And I remember Patty saying, honey, look, it's fun. And I remember looking up and she's gazelling, from thing to thing. And I can't even let go and get up to the next thing. And slowly, with all of this encouragement, slowly I started to move up. But it was so slow, and we only had so much time, and the people behind me aren't up yet, that the people behind me start climbing up. And I'm kind of trying to scoot over to this edge of the climb. and people are coming up, and as each person passed me, like they patted me and they, a couple people kind of gave me a little one-arm hug and said something encouraging to me, and people are passing me by, and I'm looking up, and now the place up there is really busy. There's all kinds of activity. People are running around having all kinds. And here's the most interesting thing about this. I am going up, literally, it's taking me, each step is taking me like a couple of minutes. And I'm working with myself mentally and emotionally to move through this paralyzing fear. And the fact is, on a ropes course, you cannot fall. And I was aware of this the entire time. I've got a harness, I've got ropes connecting me to something. If I completely let go of everything, the most I would fall would be like a foot or two. You can't fall. You are safe. You are harnessed. Nothing bad can happen to you up there. And even with that rational knowledge, I had this irrational fear that kept me from participating in the full experience of life. And I worked my way up, and I worked my way up, and I worked my way up, and I finally got to the starting platform where everything heads off from there. And I pulled myself up, and I turned around, and I sat on this platform with my feet hanging over the edge. And I looked out as far as I could look, because it's not so high up out there, right? It's kind of funny how when you look down, it seems really high, but when you look out, there's a message. When you look out, there's a sense of safety, and it doesn't seem quite so scary and high. And I sat on that platform for I don't know how long, because pretty soon they were saying, time to come down. And I turned myself around, and I went down that little climby deal a lot faster than I went up, but still just a little bit at a time. And I found myself at the bottom. I was physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted. And I was so proud of myself. And all the people that I was with giving me a great job, Marla, way to go, you did it. Aren't you amazing? Now, honestly, you guys, they're all up there running around doing all these crazy things that you can do on a ropes course that I didn't even know about. I sat on a platform that was, 25 feet off the ground. But I was supported and admired for being present to my fear and doing what I could do. And it was such a brilliant experience because it's sealed in my mind. And when I feel fear now, I think of that experience. And I think of how supported I was by the people around me. I think of how little danger I was actually in. I think of the opportunity to be present to what was going on and to go as far as I could possibly go and have that be good enough. See, those are the things that I think of. And I think of how that deepened and empowered me as a human being. And here's an interesting thing about that kind of fear. When we are facing something, and I use the ropes course, of course, it's a metaphor for every other fear I've ever experienced in my life. And perhaps there's something in your life that you have deep fear about, or even just a little bit of fear. Sometimes those are the ones that mess us up the most. Here's the thing about facing this fear. No one but me could have done that climb for me. No one could have been in the presence of my fear the way I was. No one can face my fears for me. No one can face your fears for you. We have to face our fears ourselves. And it doesn't mean we can't be supported. It doesn't mean people can't clap us on the back and tell us you can do it, but we have to do it. We want to face our fears because they transform us. Think of the term, novitiate and initiate. So I was a novice. I was a ropes course novice, and now I am an initiate. And I feel pretty confident I could get up to at least that first platform with a lot more ease now, and I might even be able to go out and walk on one of the little things or something. Apprentice to master, junior to senior. You see, these experiences evolve and grow us if we will allow them to. If we allow ourselves to learn something from them. What fears have you faced, or what fears are you facing in your life? And if there's something you want to share, feel free to chat that, because we can talk about it a little bit. What fears are you facing in your life? And how present to those fears are you? I know there's a lot going on with pandemics and politics, and that's just kind of in our public life. There's a lot going on that might give rise to fear in me. And perhaps there's something in your private life that is causing fears to come up. How do you want to be with your fears, and how do you want to use them to grow you? There's one thing that facing the fear is not. Well, I guess it's not one thing, it's a collection of things. Sometimes I think somehow if I just read the right book or do the right workshop or get inspired by the right quote, that somehow that thing will face my fear for me and I won't have to do it. And here's the thing, I completely support your doing all of those things. I know that those things have really helped me become the kind of woman who could face her fear and go to the platform of a ropes course. But they are only skill development. They are just, those kinds of opportunities for learning and deepening and growing are just skill development to actually be in the experience of facing our fears is what teaches us how to do the thing we think we cannot do. We have to be in it and practice being present. Here's the problem with our unfaced fears. Our unfaced fears really limit our experience. I could have said, oh man, no, it's like super scary up there. I'm opting out of the ropes course. I could have said that. And, nobody would have thought the worst of me, but I wouldn't have had that experience of being so present to my fear and making it to the platform and learning what I was able to learn about myself and about the nature of the universe from that experience. So if I'm unwilling to be present to, if I'm unwilling to face my fears, I'm limiting my experience and my growth potential. Another challenge with not facing our fears is that, oftentimes, I don't know about you, but a lot of times my fears drive my behaviors. Yes? I know that the times that I behave the most badly are oftentimes the times I'm the most afraid. When something comes up that triggers fear for me, in order to not feel the fear, I sometimes lash out. Is this familiar to anyone? Or maybe I don't lash out. Maybe in order to not feel the fear, I eat. Maybe in order to not feel the fear, I worry. See, there's both external behaviors and for some of us internal behaviors that can be stirred up by our fears. And in our trying not to feel the fear, we engage in these behaviors. Is this familiar to anybody? Oh, I don't want to be afraid, so I'm just going to go. And sometimes there are even things that are on the surface good for us. Like, I know one person who the way she deals with fear is she exercises, and she exercises hard. And, exercise is good for us. But if we're using that as an an excuse to not feel our fears, we are missing out. We are limiting our experience of life. And trust me, the universe has put you here and put me here to experience life fully, and has given us the opportunity to be present to whatever is happening in our lives, so that we can know ourselves, our authentic, real, true selves more and more deeply. And that's where spirit lives. That's where our authentic self is. And in order to reach that authentic self, we have to be present to whatever's going on out in the world. Janet Pearson said in the chat, it's important to acknowledge our fears and to allow ourselves to feel what we feel. And I say yes. You know, when I'm on that thing and I'm holding on for dear life and I am paralyzed in fear, the behavior might have been, I'm out, I'm down, I'm going to go sit in the wherever it is and eat something, or worry or fret about all those people up there. See, instead, I chose to be present to the fear and climb to the darn platform anyway. Our unfaced fears limit our experience of life and limit our experience of the divine. Our book of the month this month is Falling Upward by Richard Rohr. It's a powerful read, y'all. I really encourage you to get a copy of this book and to check it out. One of the things that he says so easily and so beautifully, he says, we learn to recover from falling by falling. We learn to recover from falling by falling. I mean, think about it. When you learned to ride a bicycle or when you learned to skate, didn't you fall down? And you learned something. Oh, I was out of balance, or I went too far this way, or I put my weight over there and I fell down. And now I'm going to get up and I'm going to try it again. I'm going to face my fear of falling by allowing myself to take the risk of falling. And I'm going to learn something, you see, and we can use our fears to teach us how to ride that bicycle of life more fully and more completely and more consciously. Learning to be present and feel our fears allows us to transcend those behaviors, allows us to simply be quiet with what the fear is, rather than trying to make it go away by shouting at somebody or becoming angry or overeating or over-exercising. Being present to our fears allows us to transcend those behaviors that are often not life-affirming. And as we cultivate an awareness of our fears and the ability to be present to them, we begin to trust more fully that the universe catches us, that there is an infinite unity. You see, learning to be present to fear builds our faith. We begin to realize that something greater than we are is at work. I'm back to the song, just let it go, just let it go. We learn that there's really only one thing happening. Richard Rohr, once again, he says that hell, the hell of hanging on to the ladder up to the platform, is a necessary pathway to heaven. He says hell is a necessary pathway to heaven. And, you know, he pointed something out, and I thought that can't possibly be right. And I went and I looked it up, and it is right. In the Apostles' Creed, which I recited like for many, many years, at least once a week, and sometimes several times a week, in the Apostles' Creed, it says Jesus descended into hell and then rose. And somehow that part got past me. Even Jesus had to spend some time in hell in order to access heaven. And of course, these are metaphors, aren't they? Hell being a metaphor for the pain and the discomfort and the whatever, and heaven being a metaphor for the joy with which we can experience our lives. So how can we begin to become present to our fears? How can we learn to access? How can we learn to be in hell as a pathway to heaven, if you will? And I think the first thing, we've already touched on, just feel that fear. Just feel it. I don't know about you. I don't like feeling fears. It makes me wildly uncomfortable. And as we talked about a few weeks ago, our comfort is no longer relevant in this world. We've been too comfortable for too long. And it's time for us to get uncomfortable. I have a lot of fears about, the things that might happen with the climate and in politics and for people of color in our community. And, it's uncomfortable for me to feel those fears, and it's uncomfortable for me to think about stepping forward into some kind of way of being that advances our awareness around these issues. It's wildly uncomfortable. It's fear-inducing for me. And I need to be willing to feel the fear anyway, because I can't transcend what I haven't felt. I can't transcend what I haven't felt. I have to be in the experience, whether I want to be in the experience or not. If indeed I am going to use this fear as a pathway to heaven, if indeed I'm going to learn to ride bike and allow falling to teach me how to not fall. See, when I do that, when I'm willing to feel the fear, to be in the experience with a sense of faith and commitment, then I can become responsive rather than reactive, rather than lashing out and becoming angry, rather than heading for the kitchen. I can become responsive to what's happening. And from that place of responsiveness, I can become the source, my own source of a different experience. And I have to choose that. No one, just like nobody can be in the fear for me, no one can feel the fear for me, no one can fall for me, and nobody can pick up for me. Nobody can choose for me to become responsive rather than reactive. I had an experience of, this was, 25 years ago now. I had to testify in court about something, and I was paralyzed with fear about that experience. And I am so grateful. To this day, I remember a dear, dear friend who sat with me as I prepared me mentally and emotionally to be in this experience. And here's what she did for me, and what I learned to do for myself. I told her I was afraid. I have to testify in court. I'm afraid. And she said, "What are you afraid of?" And I said something like, "Well, what if they rip me apart?" And she said, "Yes. Yes, I can see you would be afraid of that." "I know, but I'm paralyzed. I'm really afraid." "What are you afraid of?" "I'm afraid that this might happen." Yes. Yes. Do you see how she gave me permission to be in my fears? And when I had that permission, number one, to express them in an environment that was appropriate, right? This was an appropriate environment for me to be just really reactive and expressing all of these fears. She gave me permission to be in them. And I got to imagine all the horrible things that could happen and get it out of my system and learn that there's something deeper and more powerful in me. And I wouldn't have put this language on it at the time, but there is an infinite wisdom that lives in me that knows how to respond in any situation. And because I was willing to feel the fear and to talk about it and to process it and to be with it, when I actually walked into that courtroom, can I tell you, I kicked some booty. It was quite an experience. It was quite an experience. And I just have to tell you, this one attorney who was just doing everything he could do to intimidate the heck out of me, I can't even tell you. It's like, I'll tell you this. at one point, and he's asking me the same thing over and over and over again. And I looked up at the judge and I said, I don't think Mr. So-and-so is paying attention to my answers. And the judge said, I don't think he is either. And I mean, you know, and it was like, it was such an empowering experience. But if I had gone in there without feeling my fear, if I had gone in there, oh, I'm not scared, I can do that, it would have been a completely different experience. And I don't know what that experience would have been, but I know it would have been reactive, not responsive. Yes? So the first how is you got to feel it and get supported, right? When I'm sitting there on the ropes course thing and I can't get up and people are patting me on the back, you can do it. Good work, girlfriend. Hey, one more step, way to go. Do you see? What are you afraid of? Yes, get support in ways that are appropriate and authentic and real, and people who really will support you to feel that fear. And then you just got to do it. Feel it and do it anyway. There's a song about that, isn't there? But, you know, do it in a way that you can be successful. Get support. Wear a harness, right? Wear an emotional and mental harness that will catch you if you fall. It's so important to listen for the deeper voice. You see, the surface voice in my head on the ropes course was saying, you can't do this. This is so scary. This is crazy. What are you doing? That's what the surface voice was saying, right? We've all got a surface voice, right? The deeper voice, the voice of the divine, was saying, you can do it. This is important for you. Say yes. There's a reason this experience showed up for you today. Be present to it. Go up one more step. You can do it. The deeper voice. So we have to do it anyway, listening to that deeper voice and to allow the experience to be made meaningful for us. You see, I get tempted sometimes to think about things in terms of winning and losing. Anybody else? You did it or you didn't. You won or you lost. You're right or you're wrong. Winning and losing has no meaning in life. And for somebody like me who's a little on the competitive side, that's a tough one to grasp. Winning has no meaning. Losing has no meaning. The only thing that has meaning is, what did I learn? Because I mean, you know, winning would have been on gazelling around the ropes course like everybody else, right? That would have been the true win. But the deeper meaning of the exercise was to get to the platform and to see what getting to the platform had to teach me. Winning and losing does not define truth, does not define who I am. What defines truth and what defines who I am is, what did I learn from this holy hell that I walked through? What did I learn? As I listened to the deeper voice, as I allowed myself to be supported, what did I learn? And this learning requires that we reflect and we integrate post-experience, right? Sometimes when I'm done with something, I'm out, it's over, right? But to really see what the learning is in every experience, is to really let our fear build our faith. We need to reflect and integrate. We need to talk about it, share about it, write about it maybe, process the experience. You see, we learn how not to fall by falling, right? But the learning isn't in the falling down. The learning is reflecting on why we fell down. The learning happens when we reflect, when we integrate, and we get back up again and we try it again. So feel the fear and do it anyway. is absolutely it. Just don't be reckless. Wear the harness. Yes, get the support. Set yourself up to be successful, because spiritually speaking, there is no such thing as failure, and there is no such thing as a dead end. Spiritually speaking, hell, fear is a necessary path to heaven, because it's here to teach us something. It's here to open our hearts to a richer and greater experience of life. It is here to teach us our oneness with the infinite. And so let's turn within now and take the sacred breath together as we open our hearts. To the truth, to the power of these words in each one of our individual lives. And I invite you, in the silence of your heart, to simply ask yourself, what is my deepest, greatest fear right now? What am I deeply afraid of? And you simply allow the awareness to come. And as you become aware of your deepest fears right now, allow yourself to see how those fears are driving any behaviors that you might want to release. And allow yourself to become present with this fear. No judgment, simply alert to the feeling of fear. And as you are present to this feeling, allow yourself to remember, I am in this experience, whether I want it or not. I am in this experience, and I am supported by the infinite mind and heart of God, and so it is easy for me to be present to my fears. And in the power of that choice to be present, begin to get an inkling at least of what this fear has come to teach you. Begin to learn from the experience of this fear. Allow that lesson, the awareness of the grace of the infinite, to permeate your consciousness. And simply lean into the fear. Because now you know who you are. And when we know who we are, we know what to do. Anchored in this awareness of your most true and authentic self, simply say yes to all that life has for you, aware, awake, alert, to the spiritual truth that even this hell is a pathway to heaven, and heaven is right now. And so begin to see yourself in that heavenly experience of peace, of joy, of grace. As you acknowledge that this is a process we will complete over and over and over again in this life, each time with a deeper awareness, initiate, novice to initiate, junior to senior, apprentice to master. And so it's in this awareness that I give thanks for the power and the grace of this message. And I give thanks for the willingness of each member of this sacred circle, this virtual circle, I give thanks for each person's awareness and willingness to be in the presence of the spiritual truth. And I am so very grateful that we are present to all that unfolds in our lives. So I close this message with a grateful heart, and so it is. Amen.
Wake up, the sun cannot wait for long. Reach out before it fades away. You will find the warmth when you surrender. Smile into the fear and let it play. You wanna run away, but you say that it can't be so. You wanna look away, but you stay, 'cause it's all so close. When you stand up and hold out your hand in the face of what I don't understand, my reason to be brave. Hold on so strong, time just carries on. And all that you thought was wrong is pure again. You can't hide forever from the thunder. Look into the storm and feel the rain. You wanna run away, but you say that it can't be so. You wanna look away, but you stay, 'cause it's all so close. When you stand up and hold out your hand in the face of what I don't understand, a reason to be brave. But you say that it can't be so. You wanna look away, but you stay, 'cause it's all so close. When you stand up and hold out your hand in the face of what I don't understand, a reason to be brave. To be brave.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jean Palmatier. I'm your board host for today. And what a powerful message. For me in particular, I have to tell you, this is one that I go back to all the time. Many of us have had some point in our life where we've been in fear of not having enough money or not having enough of something. This is the time of our service where we practice the power of intention that stands behind the unity principle of abundance. Through the circulation of your monetary gifts, we allow for the demonstration of the principle of abundance. If you want to know more about our principles or just unity in general, if you're a visitor or just new and curious, contact me. My contact information is in the chat. I'd be happy to talk to you. If you're one of my many friends at Unity, call me anyway, for any reason. So the principle of abundance centers around the knowledge that we need to make room for something new to come into our life. Your gift to Unity of Bellevue allows for you to help Unity and also for us to help you. To give, go to the Unity website and select Give, and it will provide a number of ways where you can practice the principle of abundance. With that said, I would like to bless whatever offerings that you have to offer. And if you would, with me, even though you're muted, with conviction, as Reverend Marla says, please join me in the offering affirmation. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
And so we give thanks for these gifts. We give thanks for the giver. We give thanks for the divine circulation that supports the entire process. I consecrate these gifts to the good use of this center, knowing that we are deeply blessed, the gift, the giver, and the receiver, by all that is unfolding around us. God is good and all is well, and so it is. Amen.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Monica McDowell Elvig. I'm your center administrator. I'm coming to you with my Zoom costume, Hogwarts Castle. We are 2 days away from fall. Can you believe it? We're entering our 3rd season in this pandemic. And fall to me is pumpkin bread, and it is chai lattes. I drink those all year round, but also Harry Potter. So I'm featuring my Hogwarts Castle here. We welcome all of you. If you are visiting with us for the first time virtually, we welcome you. We open our hearts to you. We want to walk with you as you take steps, whether they are in faith or in fear. And please reach out to us via social media, via phone call, email. The best way to stay in touch with everything that's happening with Unity of Bellevue online is to sign up for our weekly e-newsletter. And you can do that by going to our website, unityofbellevue.org. And on the bottom of every page is a sign-up sheet for that weekly e-newsletter. It has all of the events, all of our news, and it comes out every week on Thursday mornings. I have some announcements as to what is actually happening this week on Unity of Bellevue Online. The first thing is we have our Northwest Region Conference that's happening this week. It starts tomorrow night. It's not too late. You can sign up for that in part or in whole. The link for that registration, more details, is on our website under events. Reverend Marla will be participating. Becca Palm is the music director for this event. She's got some great music lined up. We'd love to see you there. We have our Wednesday Community Connect. That's this Wednesday at 1 p.m. Reverend Marla checks in with us and we check in with each other informally to see how we're doing, to keep us focused on spiritual principles and practices during this pandemic staycation. We also have Unity LGBTQ online this Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8:30. That is safe space and spiritual support for LGBTQ plus persons and those who are questioning. We'd love to have you join us. The Zoom link, you can find that on our website, unityofbellevue.org/launch, the same as for our Wednesday Community Connect. We also have our book of the month. Oh, you can't see it if I put it in front of the castle, huh? In front of me, Falling Upward by Richard Rohr. If you would like a copy, I have a few to send out, a few more. You can go to our website under events and fill out the form, and I will ship that to you. It's a way to support our center and our bookstore during this time. Our food truck. We have a food truck again this Thursday from 4 to 7. That's not online. That's in our parking lot. It's real food, not virtual food. And it's the People's Burger. So it's burger and fries, all kinds. So if you would like to help support that, we're also supporting people in food crisis with this service that we're doing along with other faith communities in Bellevue. So show up between 4 and 7 p.m. Jean Palmatier has an announcement.
Hi, folks. It's time to talk about Divine Dining Cookbook again. So one of the things that's really special about cooking is it gathers people together and it gives us an opportunity to practice unity principles of oneness and togetherness and just sharing each other's spirit. Part of the reason why we asked in the cookbook's middles for you guys to share your stories about the recipes is because, you know, there's an emotional attachment to cookbook or to the recipes. And today I'd like to have introduce Allison. You guys all know her. She's been around the community forever. Used to be our youth and family program administrator. She's going to share her memory for her recipe. Take it away, Allison. You'll have to unmute. There we go.
All this morning, I submitted a recipe for the Taster's Choice Bake Off cookbook, and I was eager to do so because I had a special, or I do have a special recipe to share, and it's listed as a side dish. It's my Grandma Polly's baked beans. And I was excited to submit this because, as Jean was saying, this encapsulates so much more than just cooking. My Grandma Polly passed away about 7 years ago. And at the same time, this tradition continues. She always has invited all of her friends, neighbors, and then all of our family, which is very large on that side. She has 7 children and I don't know how many grandchildren. Once a year, we get together the Sunday before Christmas. And we'd all bring some food, but she did, you know, the main dishes, and she always did her baked beans. And she would start this early, and I knew it because she would get the onions going and the bacon going and the maple brown sugar, all kinds of these wonderful scents, right? So by the time we get there, the house was filled with these smells. You know, all the other food tasted and smelled good too, but the baked beans really overarched this family gathering. And I guess more than anything, I wanted to emphasize that the atmosphere that she created was open, warm, inviting. Everyone was family. We were all connected. I don't know that she was spiritual or religious. She never brought those things, you know, into her conversation, but the way she lived and how she connected with those that she loved every year and provided that space and opportunity was so powerful. And even though she did pass away 7 years ago, we have continued that. And even as she got a little bit older, we started to, you know, take turns hosting this the Sunday before Christmas every year. And I even had the pleasure to host as well. And we always make the baked beans. The baked beans will always be there. It's the food, but really it's so much more than that. I guess more than anything, I just want to pass along that, you know, the recipes that are involved in this cookbook, I think are so powerful. I'm excited to try them, not just because they're going to taste great, but because I know there's heart behind there. There's connection behind there. This is wonderful. I'm so glad Jean and everyone that's worked on this has brought it forward to our community. So I recommend participating in this, and I'm excited to taste some of the other recipes, especially now that we're in for the fall. I'm ready to start cooking again. So thank you, Jean.
Thanks, Allison. Great story. I have a couple other stories like that in the cookbook too. Thank you so much for sharing your memories. For the rest of you, we still have until the end of the month, September 30th, to submit your recipes, I can't talk today, and to also vote on those that you've tried and you like. It's an easy process. Please participate. Just a business note on this, that we need a certain number of recipes to actually do a printed book. And right now we don't have that number. So we really do need your recipes. We have about half of what we need. So if you've been in the thought of, hey, I'm gonna do it eventually, now's the time. Do it now. And if we don't get enough printed version recipes, what we've decided to do is do some kind of a electronic or ebook. So you'll still get something back, but we really do want to get a printed cookbook. So please submit those recipes. Thanks, Monica.
Thank you, Jean. I have 2 more announcements for you. First of all, classes start next week, not this week, next week. We have Reverend Marla teaching practical spirituality on Tuesday afternoon, 1 to 4. It's an opportunity for you to take a daytime class and not be up so late. And it's powerful material. So look at that. It's all on our website. It's all on our newsletter. Reverend Marla is also teaching East Meets West on Wednesday evenings, 6:30 to 9:30. That is a deep dive into mystical principles, and you will not regret taking that class. I will also be doing a workshop later in October, and I have some breathwork and EFT practice groups. The first breathwork practice group is coming up September 29th. That's a Tuesday from 7 to 7:30, if you'd like to join in for that. Finally, prayer chaplains, they will be offering a virtual prayer circle following the service. If you would like to stay on for that, please do so. If you would like to just log off, if you're not going to join that, that would be very helpful. Our prayer chaplains are Susan and Jan. And if you can't join and you have prayer requests, you are also welcome to send them to them at prayerchaplains@unityofbellevue.org. Just send them an email or fill out the prayer request form on the website. If you'd like one of them to call you to pray with you or just to talk with you, please put that in your message and they will be happy to do so. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed week.
Thank you, Monica, live from Hogwarts. As we prepare to close today, I want to acknowledge the life and the contributions of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice, powerhouse woman. She is a, I honestly don't have a lot of words to bless and acknowledge her right now, because I feel so strongly the way that she contributed to my quality of life. I have freedoms that women did not have before she took up the cause of equity and justice for women. And she's also a big part of the fact that I can be married to my beloved wife. And so I just want to acknowledge the contributions that she made in this world toward equity, toward justice, toward basic human rights for everyone, and to acknowledge this passing is, it feels like a loss, but you know, she's given us some really powerful shoulders to stand on. And all we need to do is take her lessons and move forward boldly and face our fears and be encouraged. And she's laid a really strong foundation. So I'm grateful for her, and I acknowledge her passing, and I couldn't let a public time go by without acknowledging her and the contributions she's made to the progress of humanity, which is so much what we are about. We are about the progress of humanity. And so with her in mind, let us move forward to the prayer for protection. Our closing prayer. Stick around for prayer circle if you'd like some further prayer support when we are complete. Please join me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Stick around for prayer circle if you wish. We'll see you on Wednesday at Community Connect, 1 p.m. Bye.